Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network on this Saturday afternoon after the Mets even the series a game apiece. And now, as far as that series is concerned, they will play a rubber game tomorrow night. Two solid pitchers, one obviously having a brilliant season in Fried. No one's going to get beat up in this series. Both teams are going to go on their merry way, and they'll meet again over the 4th of July weekend at Citi Field. The Soto thing now is pretty much played out. And there's a couple of things that you take away. Number one, good win for the Mets today, showing you that they continue to find ways to win games. Their pitching has been a big positive this year. Their bullpen has been a big positive. It was again today. Doing the little things to win the game. You know, they haven't been great with runners in scoring position this year other than Alonso. They don't score runs the way the Yankees score runs, but they've pitched so much better this year, and they've pitched so much better in the bullpen this year than the Yankees. A couple of things that jump out to me. Number one, LeMahieu is trying to show the Yankees he still has some life. He had some life today. He made a couple of nice plays in the field. He dunked a home run, on his inside-out swing into the friendly right field stands. Yanks scoring the way they always score on the home run ball. The Mets kind of piecing it together. Soto has gotten on base in the first two games. He's gotten on base 5 times in the first 2 games. He got a line drive base hit today and a walk. But you're seeing a couple things from Soto that you never saw last season. He has developed actually a little bit of a bad habit at the plate. And he is getting beat on fastballs that you never saw him get beat on. I never saw Soto overpowered at the plate last year. The thing that jumped out at me watching him all year last year was how completely in command he was at the plate at all times. Rarely does the batter have complete control in the batter's box. He did. Whether he wound up getting a hit or not, he still did. You almost got the feeling he was setting the pitchers up. And he's looked off balance. He has thrown his shoulder open on numerous occasions. He's late on fastballs. He has not hit in the big spot, which was so much part and parcel of what he was last year. You know, he was so good in the big spot last year. He's been so small in the big spot this year. So it does bear some watching. Listen, he's not going to have a terrible season. He's too good an offensive player. He's going to walk 120 times. He's going to score 100 runs. He's going to find a way to hit close to 30 home runs. He might not have a typical Soto year, but he will have enough. And the key will be how he produces in the big game and where he takes the Mets, especially in the postseason. To the postseason and in the postseason. Rare bad game for Judge today. 0 for 5, 3 Ks. We have not seen games like that out of him this year. I mean, this is a player who had gotten on base 100 times in his first 200 at-bats. That is insanity. I believe only done 4 times in the last 40 years. He's done things this year that guys haven't done since, Bonds did it, or Babe Ruth did it, or, guys who had incredible years did it. But not today. So we get ready for Game 3 tomorrow night in prime time. Should be a good pitching matchup. It'll be a lot less about Soto and much more about the ball game. Now it's just, win the series, get the bragging rights. The Soto thing has kind of played itself out a little bit, unless he comes up in a, 8th inning tomorrow night down a run, something like that. But he hasn't looked like Soto in this series, although he's gotten on base enough where he hasn't hurt himself or embarrassed himself. He hasn't done anything that's been noteworthy at the plate. And there's only blood in these. There's only a big deal in this. First of all, this year there's no real underdog in the series because they're both playing well, and they're both teams that are playoff teams, and they're both in first place. Usually, the Mets are playing to prove something. So when they beat the Mets or Yanks or sweep the Yanks, it's a big deal. This series, somebody's going to win 2-1. It's not a big deal. Really, almost no blood, no matter what happens tomorrow night. A couple other things, real quick, and then we will be with you tomorrow night after the Game 3 of this series, and then we will also preview the Knicks-Pacers. Okay, now this has almost got to be pinch you time for Knick fans. You wake up this morning in New York, and the Knicks are favored to play in the NBA Finals. You hear that? That's real. The Knicks are favored to play in the NBA Finals. You kind of knew they would be. They're playing a team where they have home court advantage, and there's no reason they shouldn't be. Bet Rivers has installed them as a 125, 150 favorite, which means they're a 7.5 to 5 favorite. They are right now at this point where there are still 5 teams alive, because remember, Denver, which may have to go without Aaron Gordon tomorrow, who has been so huge in their series, has to play a Game 7 at Oklahoma City, where they will be decided underdogs. And then Minnesota's waiting in the wings to play the winner, most likely Oklahoma City. I'd be very surprised if Oklahoma City doesn't win Game 7. But right now, the Knicks are 350 to 1, 3.5 to 1 to win the title. You hear that? Not 50 to 1, 30 to 1, 20 to 1, 25 to 1. They are 3.5 to 1 to win the NBA title. The path we talked about has now come into clear perspective. You can see the road now. You can see what's left and how many stops there are along the way. 8 games have to be won before 8 games have to be won before they can win a championship. Can they do it? They can do it. Are they the favorites to do it? No. But they are 3.5 to 1, which means they are a very realistic player in the game. And they are favored to go to the finals. Now, if the Knicks play Oklahoma City in the finals, they are going to be a pretty solid underdog. But that's fine. Oklahoma City's proved that they are young. They have a lot of trouble in tight games, but they have some advantages. They have depth, they have size, they have length. They play very well defensively. It can be very tough in their building, et cetera, and so on. But they have a lot of trouble in close games. But there's no reason to talk about them. Indiana is there to be played. And to me, Indiana is going to provide 2 big obstacles. I'm going to leave coaching alone. 2 main obstacles. Number 1, their depth. It's quality depth, which means they will force the Knicks to at least acknowledge their bench. They have firepower off the bench. They have versatility off the bench. The other is the pace, the speed at which they'll play this game. Because of that depth and their style of play, they will look to play very fast. Now, the Knicks don't have a problem playing fast, and they're better in the open court, but they are going to want to play exceedingly fast at a pace that will wear down the starters if they have to log too many minutes. And that's going to be their goal because they know how prone and they know what a vulnerability it is with Tibbs, with the starters. I mean, you saw it again yesterday. It's almost a little bit of a phobia for him. I mean, he's up 36 points in the fourth quarter, and he's bringing OG back into the game. And he's got Brunson on the floor. And he's got 3 starters on the floor, and they're begging him on the bench to get the starters out of the game. And he doesn't want to get the starters out of the game because he thinks, well, I don't have this one yet. You're up 36 points. Boston's best player fouled out. Their second best player fouled out. The best player in the building fouled out. Their best players in the hospital. Okay, they're done. If you know anything about basketball, you knew the Celtics were done in the second quarter last night. They were exhausted. They couldn't make a shot. They were front rimming their threes. They were done. I know you have to play it out and you worry about them making a comeback, and every time they make a couple of threes, you get worried. Boston wasn't coming back last night. I was actually annoying a couple of people that I was texting with because they were like, hey, Mike, it's not over. What are you being so, confident for? I was like, guys, I don't usually do this, and I understand about, celebrating too early in a game and all that and, tempting fates. This game is over. Over. And they were like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Celtics going to make I said, not tonight. This team has nothing. They couldn't find another scorer with Brown in the game. I thought the biggest key to that game last night was something the Knicks did a very good job. They did not allow White to get off. And if White didn't get off, they didn't have another guy who could put up 30 points. They didn't have another guy who could be that scorer. Now, Pritchard could come off the bench and get a bunch of points and get hot from 3. He wasn't last night. He didn't have a big night. Cornette wasn't going to come off and have the same game he had. And Porzingis was, except for a little flurry where he hit a 3 and blocked a shot, he was absolutely worthless in the series. Celtics had their moment. They went home. They kept their head high. They gave their fans a moment in Game 5 so they could celebrate. Brown kept his reputation by playing a brilliant Game 5 and a gutty Game 6 before he decided, you know what, best thing for me to do is hit the exit here. He hit the exit last night. He knew it was over anyway, but he hit the exit. That last foul, give me a break. He hit the exit. They were done. They knew at halftime they were done. It was not going to be their night. This series, Knicks deserve. They have the extra game at home. They deserve to be the favorite. But in realistic terms, this series is very much a toss-up. You would not be surprised at all if Indiana won this series. You would not be surprised for a moment if this series goes 7 games. We'll go through everything and give you a complete analysis. We will do that on Tuesday. We're with you tomorrow night after the third game of the Yankee series. Now, the Preakness today, hey, you're not going to get rich on this race. The Derby, you can have your moment. You can make a big score. 2 weeks ago, the favorite finished second, which curtailed the prices a little bit. If it had been Baez's second, we would have had a real major score. It was still a nice payday, but especially with the win price. The win price was sensational. Even money today is a good price on journalism. He is much the best. I will be shocked if he loses this race. Yeah, I don't think there's anything in there that can beat him. And I'm looking for a long shot second, so I've gone with Heart of Honor because he's a stranger in the group. He's going to be running late, and he's going to be passing tired horses because there's a lot of speed in the race. So that's where I went. And then I'll put in some exotics, looking for some prices based on how the board plays. But journalism, if he's even money, he's a good bet. He's actually giving you a very good price. At 4, he's giving you an extremely generous price at even money. And remember, you bet sports at even money all the time. Even money on this horse in this race is a legitimately fair price. He's that much better than this group. So the Mets do the things today that they've done all year. Soto continues to have his issues at the plate. And I'm very surprised that he's even developed some bad habits. Judge has the rare bad game, and we get ready for the rubber match tomorrow night with the guy who's been the best pitcher in baseball on the mound. We'll see you tomorrow.